What's going on, Giants fans? In today's show, we're going to talk about some trade rumors, but first, get in the comments and shout out your city. Rep it for me. We've done this before on the channel, but since then, we've almost doubled our subscriber count, so I want to know where all the new subs live and lay their head at night. So get in the comments, shout out your city. One of my favorite things about this channel is we have fans worldwide. I want to see where all you guys are watching from, so get in the comments, shout out your city for me. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers, so help me out. The link to my Twitter will be in the comments and description of this video. So let's get to it. In this video, we're talking about Giants trade rumors. We got two guys we're going to talk about. First, though, let's touch on Bradley Chubb. PFF, they put out an article highlighting 25 trades they think would work well for both sides. And they had the Giants trading for outside linebacker Bradley Chubb, a guy that I really liked coming into the NFL draft just 4 years ago. I thought the Giants may target him in the first round. They elected not to, but this is the mock trade that PFF suggested the Giants and Broncos made. They had the Giants receiving outside linebacker Bradley Chubb, and they had the Broncos receiving a 2022 third-round pick, and as well this year's fourth-round pick. That would be pick number 81 and pick 110. The Giants, they do have two third-round picks. They picked up the Dolphins' third-round pick from last year's NFL draft, and this would be the Bears' pick, which is the Giants' only fourth-round pick this year. But you be the GM. Take the seat of Joe Schoen. Think about it. Should the Giants trade for a guy like Bradley Chubb? I like him as a player. Has he been on the field a lot? We'll continue to talk about Bradley Chubb after this, but get your votes in. Type A for accept or type D for decline. I'd pass on this trade. It's for a couple reasons. I think the Giants need the draft capital in the third and fourth round. I think they can get solid players in that round. And at the end of the day, like Joe Schoen said, he needs as many throws at the dartboard as possible. That's where the Giants roster currently sits right now. And at the end of the day, if the Giants did make this trade, they would have to pay Bradley Chubb $14 million for 1 year. And if you're watching this video and if you stayed watching it this long, we all know the Giants salary cap situation is an absolute mess. Joe Schoen talks about he wants to clear over $40 million in cap space. Well, right now the Giants are $10 million over the cap. So not only would you be giving up two premium draft picks, a third and a fourth rounder for Chubb in this trade, you'd also have to pay him a lot of money, and you wouldn't have to pay a lot of money to the third and fourth round draft pick, whoever that may be once the draft comes rolling along. But my biggest concern on why I would not trade for Bradley Chubb, at the end of the day, who I think is a great player, but it's only when he's on the field. The best ability is availability, and Bradley Chubb has not been that throughout his NFL career. He's played in just 25 games in the past 3 seasons. He's been hurt. He has an ACL. He's had some ankle injuries. This is a guy that's on the field. He's a game breaker, but he's not on the field just often enough. 25 games in the past 3 seasons. PFF, they went on to do a little deeper dive in why they think the Giants should trade for Bradley Chubb. They said this: the Giants have extra first and fourth round picks acquired during the 2021 NFL draft from the Bears and an extra third round pick acquired from the Miami Dolphins. While new general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll may need to be patient as they overhaul one of the most expensive and least talented rosters in the NFL, it nevertheless may be tough to pass up good opportunities if they present themselves. New Giants defensive corner Don Wink Martindale loves to dial up pressure out of multiple fronts, and Chubb could be a perfect fit. The Broncos deployed him as an outside linebacker, a role in which he thrived when healthy, but he played defensive end in college before converting a bit at the NFL level. The Giants roster is currently constructed for a 3-4 base defense and another outside linebacker. Opposite a 2021 second-round pick, edge defender Azeez Ojulari could lead to a major leap for the team's pass rush unit. And I agree with all that. The Giants, they have a lot of draft capital, but that doesn't mean you just give up that draft capital for a guy in Bradley Chubb who in the last 4 seasons has played in 7 games, 14 games, 4 games. And he did play in 16 games in his rookie season. He was great. 12 sacks in his rookie year, 17 tackles for loss, but he hasn't been that same player, and he hasn't been on the field. In 2020, he also had a really good year. Played in 14 games, 7.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, but he's had injury after injury. He's hurt both ankles, and he's coming off of an ACL injury a couple years ago. At the end of the day, I would pass on making the Bradley Chubb trade that PFF suggested. But hey, look, if they do trade for Bradley Chubb, we'll be breaking it down on this channel, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. And we're trying to catch up to another chat sports channel, that being Steelers Talk. We're down 2.5 thousand subscribers. We used to be down like 5,000 subscribers. So we're fighting and we're growing like hell. And at the end of the day, I can only be honest with you. Here at Chat Sports, the more subscribers you get, the more studio time you get. So right now, Steelers Talk, hosted by this scrub named Jeremy Chuggs, who's producing this video, they get to do videos every single day. I want to do videos on this channel every single day. And Jeremy, he's not even a Steelers fan. He's actually an Eagles fan. What a fraud. So subscribe to Giants Now. The next topic on today's show. Is it time for the Giants to move on from James Bradberry? Is he going to be cut? Is he going to be traded? At the end of the day, the fact that he has a $21.8 million salary cap hit, they're going to have to make a move for him. The Giants, they're in salary cap hell. And although James Bradberry, when he first came to the Giants, was one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, and last year he was still a solid cornerback, $21 million, pretty much $22 million, is a little bit too much money, in my opinion, for James Bradberry, especially when they're trying to clear salary cap space. Trading James Bradberry saves $12.1 million in cap space, but you incur a dead cap hit of 9.7. So if you're wondering, hey, what does that mean? You take the $21.8 million cap hit, then you subtract the dead cap, which is 9.7, and you get the number 12.1. So the Giants, they would have pretty much a $10 million dead cap hit if they traded James Bradberry, but they would also free up $12.1 million in cap space. I hope that I explained that to you pretty well so you can understand that. Zach Rosenblatt, he recently put up a piece on NJ.com talking about James Bradberry and what he thinks the Giants are going to do. I thought it was some pretty good stuff by my guy Zach. He said this: he's good enough that many teams would likely be willing to take on his $13.4 million salary while giving up multiple draft picks. That figure is a bargain for a player that, at his best, is one of the better cornerbacks in the National Football League. Bradberry fell off in 2021 after a stellar 2020, allowing 8 TDs this past year per Pro Football Focus, after only allowing 3 in the first Giants season. But he's still a quality cornerback, a premium position in the pass-happy modern NFL. Losing Bradberry would be difficult and would likely force the Giants to use another early draft pick on a corner. But they just paid $39 million to Adoree Jackson in free agency last year, and he is a good scheme fit for defensive coordinator Don Wink Martindale. The team is also still high on 2021 draft pick Aaron Robinson, Adoree Jackson, I think they would fill in very nicely if the Giants decided to move off of James Bradberry. Honestly, and it hurts to say, I don't think Bradberry is going to be a Giant next year. Maybe they cut him. Hopefully they trade him so they can get some draft picks back for him. In a quick second, we'll take a look at some cornerbacks kind of in the same talent area of James Bradberry that were traded and what they got back for in the trade. But first, answer this question for me. Should the Giants trade James Bradberry? Type T for trade, or go down in the comments and type K for keep. It's going to be cold for a couple more months wherever you live, so get some gear, some Giants swag. Chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. They're on sale. This one was $65. Now it's $48. Or you can get this one. It was $70, and now it's $52. Shout out to Fanatics. But you got to go to chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. That's chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. Plug that into your web browser. It'll drop you right where you got to be to find Giants hoodies on sale. Do some shopping and look good during the offseason repping some Giants hoodies. James Bradberry this past year, he was good. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. But in 2020, he was one of the best, if not a top 5 cornerback in the National Football League. He had 47 tackles last year, 4 interceptions, 17 pass breakups, and he allowed 8 touchdowns compared to last year where he allowed just 3 touchdowns. He's still a good player, but at the end of the day, $22 million for a cornerback where the roster of the Giants sits right now, it's going to be a tough sell to all of Giants fans and Joe Schoen. Some cornerbacks that have been traded in the past. We just teased it a couple minutes ago. Bradley Roby. He was recently traded from the Houston Texans to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints, they received Bradley Roby, and the Texans, they received a 3rd and 6th round pick. James Bradberry, in my opinion, a much better corner than Bradley Roby. What about the DARIUS Slay trade that happened a couple off seasons ago? I think Slay is a tick better, if not on the same type of talent level as James Bradberry. He returned a 3rd and a 5th round pick from the Eagles going to the Lions in exchange for Slay. I think that's maybe a type of compensation the Giants could receive in a James Bradberry trade. Then A.J. BOUYE, the Jaguars, they traded him to the Broncos for a 4th-round pick. So those are kind of some trades that we've seen in the past happen around cornerbacks that are still good. At the end of the day, I think Darius Slay is the best out of the 4 guys mentioned, but I think James Bradberry is right behind him. So this is my James Bradberry trade idea. And you may be wondering, why are you mentioning the Raiders? I've heard some rumblings that the Raiders are interested in them. Our Raiders Report host, who runs our Raiders channel here at Chat Sports, has over 100,000 subscribers, and he told me he's heard from people that the Raiders are interested in James Bradberry. Is that because they hired former Giants defensive coordinator Patrick Graham? He said maybe, but at the end of the day, I think the Raiders could use him, and there's some ties there. The Giants, they would receive a 3rd-round pick this year, pick number 86, and a 2023 6th-round pick. So a 6th-round pick next year, and James Bradberry would go to the Las Vegas Raiders. Get in the comment section. Let me know. Should the Giants make this trade? Do you think it's enough? I mean, Bradley Roby, he went for a 3rd and 6th. I think James Bradberry's better than Bradley Roby. But let me know, should the Giants make this trade? Go down, type yes for yes. Or if not, go down and type no for no. This would be a win for the Giants. At the end of the day, I don't think James Bradberry is going to be on this roster next year. And if you can get the number 86 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, as well as a 6th-rounder next year, that is a win for the New York Giants. At the end of the day, I'd be cool if it was just a 3rd-round pick. I'd be cool with that. Give me just a 3rd for James Bradberry, pick number 86 for Bradberry. I think the Giants, they would walk away winners. And Joe Schoen, he would be applauded and very happy and able to sleep at night like he's talked about he would have to do after every single move he would make as the Giants general manager. At the end of the day, who knows if he's going to be traded? The cap hits high. The Giants cap situation is a mess. But if they do trade him, you can find out on this channel or on my Twitter account at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. So hit me up. Give me a follow. Send me a DM. Let me know you came from this video, and I'll give you a follow back.